let's start with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Right? Because let's run down the teams that they beat. They beat the Bucks 116-114, and then they also beat the Bucks. We'll be going backwards here. The Bucks 114-113. The Magic without Paolo Banchero 120-109. The Lakers, which was the Bronny's homecoming in Ohio, 134-110. They beat my Knicks 110-104. The Wizards 135-116. The Pistons, and then the Raptors. Now, in that list, the Bucks were supposed to be a challenge, but as we've come to find out, they're not very good this year. And then when you look at the rest of the teams that they have beaten, you have the Wizards in there. You have the Lakers, which last year they weren't very good either. Them having a good stretch is actually a positive thing right now, right? And they are 4-3, also above 500 in the West. So really, the shocker being the Bucks sucking, and then the New York Knicks being in transition. Those are really the only two teams in this stretch that should have given Cleveland problems, right? So that's 3 out of the 8 games that they should have had a hard time. But like I said, the Knicks are in a transition, and I've had my reservations about them, and the Bucks absolutely suck. The rest of these teams, they should have beat, especially with the Magic losing Paolo. So is their hot start more to do with their schedule, or are they really a legitimate team? Now, we talked about accidental basketball for a reason, right? Because a lot of the modern NBA is predicated on driving and kicking to get shooter shots. And I think that there are some teams that obviously do that much better than others. And then you have a less a type of game that isn't accidental. And for my example of those teams, we'll look at the Boston Celtics and the Oklahoma City Thunder, right? I think, Oklahoma City is still a little bit pick and roll heavy, but I do think that they do a lot of things in terms of cutting and getting people open. That's not just a high pick and roll and we'll find a shooter to kick to. When you look at the Cleveland Cavaliers, though, they are more of the high pick and roll, heavy type of offense. And for comparison, I think that their style is a little bit closer to like the Dallas Mavericks, right? And the advantage that the Cleveland Cavaliers have in this modern basketball is their 2 guards are shooters in Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland. Yeah, they can score, and some people might call them scorers, right? But they are shooters that can score, and there's a very distinct difference, right? We'll run through this a little bit real quick. A Kevin Durant is a shooter that can score. A Devin Booker is a shooter that can score. Luka Doncic is a scorer that can shoot. And even Kyrie Irving, even though I think he's become an elite 3-point shooter, he's a scorer that could shoot. And so on and so forth. I think especially coming in, Jayson Tatum was probably considered more of a shooter that could score. And, he's become a bit more versatile as his career has gone on, right? But the Cleveland Cavaliers being able to play high pick and roll offense with 2 guys that can come off of that pick and roll and shoot the basketball, makes them extremely dangerous. And the other part in that, kind of like the Dallas Mavericks, right? When the other player is off the ball, if Darius Garland is on the ball and Mitchell is off of it, or vice versa, that other person is not useless. They are damn near just as dangerous off of the ball as they are on the ball. And so when you have two players like that, and then you have a Mobley whose game seems to be developing and plays towards the rim, which is really key in this, right? You have a Jared Allen plays to the rim, can hit little hook shots and step throughs and get layups at the rim. It's important to balance the game, right? So when they do run the pick and roll, it leaves the defense in this situation where you have to pick. Are you gonna switch it? Is the big in a drop coverage? What's the low man doing? So on and so forth. So even though they played this high pick and roll offense that's still kind of drive and kick, it's not accidental because you have two guys that could really, really shoot the basketball and play make. So you can put either one of them on the ball, and then their bigs are consistent in, if you're gonna help, then there's an alley-oop over the top. If not, they can get the ball, put it on the ball, put the ball on the floor one time and make a play. Mobley can shoot. They're just super dynamic. And granted, I think that their schedule has ended up a little bit easier, right? When you look at the teams that they've played, I do think that they are showing that they are a strong team. They're a young team. And then when you look on their defense, right, on the defensive side of the ball, they're super active. That opposite corner, that weak side corner guy is always rotating, getting back. That fills in the gaps, right? So it allows the strong side of the defense to be able to play up because they know that the guy in the back is paying attention to what's going on. So they get to play aggressive defense and they get to play hounding defense. And all of those things put together, I think, has made them a very good basketball team.